Well, welcome everyone. This is our December Caregiver Solutions Stress Less for the Holidays topic. I am Dana Cameron, Client Services Manager here at Vantage Aging. Thank you for being here with us. Our speakers today are here to help us prepare for the holidays and to provide suggestions on how we can stress less this holiday season. I'm sure that we all could use some reminders on that. I have had the privilege of working with all three of our amazing speakers, and I am excited to hear what they have to say to us today. Our first speaker is Teresa Niewiadomski. Teresa is the Family Caregiver Support Specialist for Direction Home Akron-Canton Area Agency on Aging and Disabilities. I always say that's, I always get that right. Thank you for typing all of that out. Teresa has worked for the agency for 18 years, mainly in the role of care manager. Direction Home saw the need to commit a full-time position to support unpaid family caregivers and therefore created the Family Caregiver Support Specialist in March 2019. Since then, Teresa has facilitated a successful virtual family caregiver support group started in August 2020, helped hundreds of caregivers one-on-one over the phone or by email, and has connected with numerous community resources such as Summit County Probate Court, Vantage Aging, and the Oak Clinic for Multiple Sclerosis. Teresa has over 25 years experience as a licensed social worker. She is also a certified caregiving consultant via caringyears.com, certified in dementia cares under the Healthcare Initiative, and a master trainer for powerful tools for caregivers. Welcome, Teresa.
And I was muted. Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I could not resist an opportunity to create some cozy slides here for the holidays. So I had to have a little bit of cozy added in since we're trying to avoid holiday stress. I feel like one of the things is always a good cup of tea or a good cup of coffee, right? Kind of gives you a little break from everything. So let's just pretend that we're here talking amongst our friends, which I actually am, and and that we have a nice mug of something warm, whatever that may be for you. So avoiding holiday stress as a caregiver. I always laugh when I hear the phrase, it's the most wonderful time of year, right? It's the most wonderful time of year, sure, sure. But the holidays can bring so many mixed emotions along with it. So maybe it is wonderful at times, but there's also times when it's extremely stressful. There's times when you're overwhelmed. There's times when you're grieving. So we're going to talk a little bit about those different emotions and how to handle those through the holidays. One of the first things I recommend is putting yourself in timeout. So once again, that could mean a hot cup of cocoa or a glass of wine, a cup of coffee, tea, something that brings you joy. So you may be thinking to yourself, especially during the holidays, that I don't have time for a timeout, right? There's just too much to do, too many things to take care of. But I guarantee that if you take a timeout, even if it's just 2 minutes of meditation or deep breathing or journaling, I guarantee that you will have more energy to move forward with the rest of your holiday plans. So keep that in the back of your mind. I always tell people it doesn't have to be something grand. It could be just you go in the other room away from everyone and close the door and sit for 2 minutes with your eyes closed. Think about a happy place or a happy memory. Just as simple as that. It doesn't have to be anything grand. I think it's important to remember to examine your priorities during the holidays too, because oftentimes we get caught up in expectations that we've set for ourselves or that we feel other people have set for us. And maybe those expectations are not necessarily realistic. Maybe they're not necessarily necessary. Maybe it's something that if you consulted with the rest of the family or your loved ones, it's something that they're willing to let go, but you're struggling to hold on to. And it's something that could be set aside, especially if you're having a particularly hard holiday with your loved one that you're caring for. Or maybe it is something that would encourage you to start new traditions. I talked with a caregiver the other day whose husband is confused and sad to say, he doesn't have an official diagnosis of dementia, but he had COVID and woke up one morning during that bout of COVID and was very confused and has never been the same since. So it's just, and it's unbelievable because you hear of the long COVID with the brain fog, etc., but this is beyond long COVID. This is full on dementia symptoms. So one of the things that she was upset about this holiday is that they used to go out on their own and he would make a big production of it. They don't have children, so he would go out on his own and secretly buy a lot of Christmas gifts for her and just made her feel very loved. Well, obviously he can no longer do that. So I suggested to her maybe starting a new tradition. Maybe you go out together and you pick out something and he picks out something. So you're doing it together, but you're still keeping that where you're buying gifts for each other. So just to be willing to change, what are those priorities, and be willing to create new traditions. Difficult family interactions. We know the holidays often bring families together, and I thought this picture was cute in reference to family dynamics. It's important to know and remember that people are not going to change generally. So if you know that you have difficult family members, maybe they are the people who have unrealistic expectations of you as a caregiver or of what the holidays should look like. Keep in mind that you can only change how you react to them. So you want to protect yourself, stay neutral, change the way that you interact with them, perhaps. Also, it's important that you remember that forgiving is not forgetting. So if you have to set aside your differences for the holidays and forgive them, it's only going to help yourself. You know, the forgiveness has nothing to do with the other person. The forgiveness is you forgiving in order to let go of those past interactions or dynamics. Doesn't mean that you forget, but it is a great weight off your shoulders in order to forgive and set aside things for the holidays. Holiday times also bring up a lot of grief, and there could be different types of grief that you're dealing with. Maybe a loved one that you shared the holidays with is no longer here. Maybe you're grieving the fact that you can't keep up those usual traditions, or the relationship that you have with the person you're caring for has changed. So make sure that you allow yourself to grieve. Give yourself permission to take time out to remember those traditions, remember those relationships, and um, just be kind to yourself and make sure that everyone else knows that there is joy in setting time aside to grieve and remember. If you're having quite a few feelings of negative emotions, it's important to shift your thinking to more positive And I know it sounds silly, but I always go back to the old picture a stop sign in your mind. So as soon as a negative emotion comes into your mind, it's important for you to find a phrase or a word or an image that you can practice picturing in your mind in order to shift your emotions and your thoughts to something more positive. And that could be, like I said, it could be a stop sign for you. It could be a word like forgive. It could be a word like hope. Um, Keep in mind too that the holiday time is going to pass. So this stressful time is not going to last forever. So while it's here, let's focus on the journey and what joy can we find in that journey. And lastly, make sure that you stay connected with other caregivers. So that could be by tuning in here to Vantage Aging to connect. It could be joining our Facebook group through Direction Home. We have a caregiver Facebook group, and we also have a Direction Home agency Facebook group. And we have several groups now. So we have a lot of support groups that are going on, some in person, one main one virtually. That's on Mondays from 1 to 2. And if you would like a list of our groups or, a way to join our virtual group, you can reach me at the phone number there on the screen or reach me by email as well.
Thank you, Teresa.
You're welcome.
I have used the term timeout as an adult probably more than one would expect. 'Cause I think sometimes, when you see a child, have to go into timeout or something, yes, sometimes it's like someone's misbehaving, but it's also maybe a little bit overwhelmed and maybe causing the issue. And I know I felt that way myself, so I loved that you said timeout. Um, and the suggestion on the new traditions for the person you were working with and her husband and how their situation has changed, I just think
Mhm.
is a really important thing because I think with tradition and holidays, tradition is often very important for people. And when it doesn't look the same, sometimes people don't know how to regroup to, cope with that. So if you can talk about like maybe reframing it or just having a thought in mind of maybe you can do something. It's not exactly the same thing, but it can still bring you some joy.
Yeah, exactly. Focus on what you can do and creating those memories. The memories and the time spent with loved ones, that's the most important part.
Definitely. Does anybody have questions for Teresa? Or I'm always chatting, so check with everybody else. Okay, well, if anybody thinks of any, you can put them in the chat, or we can have some for later. Thank you, Teresa. So our next speaker is Nora Logsden, and Nora has been with Vantage Aging Meals on Wheels, was Northeast Ohio of Northeast Ohio for the past 38 years. I had to ask her that. I always double check that because that's an amazing thing to say about someone. And we're so lucky to have her. Um, Nora has worn many hats during her time here and has been involved with food service since she started working in the cafeteria in elementary school. So I guess it was meant to be. And I have asked Nora many, many questions since I have started here, and I owe her a lot for that. And she's doing this for us today too. So welcome, Nora.
Thank you, Dana. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you, Teresa, for all those. I was writing like a fool. Um, I like to think that when you talk about a caregiver, obviously in our world, it's generally caregiving for a parent, a grandparent, someone older. But I think we also have to remember that I know at least myself, I not only have my mom is 87, but I also have great nieces and nephews that are small. So, caregiving can come in a lot of shapes and sizes. And for some people, it's encompassing a lot of different age groups. And I think that that's important to remember and to not let that go. As I said, a lot of this will probably, I'll reference my mother a lot. She is 87. She is still in her own home where she wants to be. And my siblings and I are working very hard and very careful to honor her wishes and keep her there. So I think that from that standpoint, when you look at nutrition and what the holidays bring, in my mind, the first thing that comes up is lots of eating. And in my family, it comes in a lot of different forms. So being able to control that and not let it overtake what we're doing. Molly walked into my office a little bit ago where I seem to be eating one after the other of Reese cups that are sitting on my desk. So probably one bad thing about the holidays is with stress and everything else, you might overeat and maybe not eat what you should. So stepping back from that, I know that I'll kind of go back to Thanksgiving. We really changed what our Thanksgiving looked like this year. And instead of having tons of food and just everything and overeating, we took it back and said that we wanted to spend the day with each other and focus less on the food. Did we have turkey and dressing and everything? Yes. We just didn't include all those extras. And initially, I was not a fan. I was fighting my sister on her plan. And at the end of the day, I was able to sit back and say, that was really nice. None of us were overwhelmed. None of us were in the kitchen for hours. You know, we were able to just step back and spend time with each other. And I had to go back to my sister and, be the one to say, I know I was fighting you on this. And it was such a great day and it worked well. I think we have to think about that when we come up on the Christmas and New Year's holidays and stop and think about what it's going to look like. And if you're a caregiver and that devolves, for me, it will be involved being the one to get mom to my brother's house. And what's that going to look like? And what do I need to take? And food has always been a big part of my family. And so that's okay. If I'm bringing mom, that's my duty. I want something very easy in terms of food bringing. I'm not bringing all the mashed potatoes like I did for Thanksgiving. So, kind of pick and choose what it is you're going to be responsible for. And, do you need to make 7 different kinds of cookies? Sure, everybody will enjoy them, but maybe that means you need to step back and say, what is 1 or 2 of the favorites? And that's what I'm going to make. Then it comes to the eating part. I don't know about everybody else, but I always seem to want to find the biggest plate and fill it the fullest I can because I'm sure I'm never going to get to eat any of this again. And then I'm miserable. So one of the things that I have tried to do is when I'm setting up or when usually it's with family so we can all kibitz, I make sure that you have small plates and then a regular size plate. So that way, what I've been tending to do is I pick up just that 6-inch little dessert plate and use that as my first time around, and just take a little bit, pace yourself and step back. Do the 10-minute rule. Once you go through whatever the buffet is, whether it's snacks, whether it's a meal, don't go back for anything else until you've waited 10 minutes from when you got done eating. You'll find that you might really never go back, or, if you do, there's only one more thing that you wanted to get. Make sure that you're staying hydrated. And I think that's one of the biggest things that none of us do. Make sure that you're keeping that tall glass of water, intermingling that with anything else you're drinking, whether it's coffee, tea, wine, what have you. Every other beverage that you have, make sure it's a big glass of water. That will not only keep you from overeating, but it will also help you just in everyday functioning, Yesterday, I left my big glass of water at home, and boy, was I suffering last night. My fingers and toes were cramping like crazy. So, I was never a big let's drink water person, but boy, as I'm aging, I'm finding that is really an important thing. um, Traditions. Teresa, you talked about the traditions, and sometimes they have to change. And, we have noticed that in my family. I lost my dad a year ago in November, and he was always the big one when it came to making nut roll. He was the one right there. He was the one leading the charge. And this year, when we were going to do that, and I said to mom, hey, we're making nut roll. Do you want to come along? She really didn't think she wanted to come. She wanted us to do it on our own. And I'm just waiting for the phone call from her to give me either the thumbs up or to tell me everything that we did wrong when she tastes what we did. But, that was new. That was very kind of a different thing for my sister-in-law and my niece and I to do. We were like, oh no, they've thrown us to the wolves now. We've got to keep this up and make it right. So changing traditions, whether it's in what you're eating, how you're eating, when you're eating. Try not to, if you can, change from your normal eating times. And I think that's very important when you're a caregiver. Keep that person on as close to their regular routine as you can. Um, I know my niece laughs at me because, she's young, she's Molly's age, she's in her 30s, and eating at 8 o'clock at night is not a problem. And when she wants to go out to dinner, and I'm saying, we've got to eat by 6 because if I eat any later than that, I'm going to be up all night. She just thinks it's nuts. But I know that even with my mom, we've got to keep her on her regular routine. If she eats too late, we're hearing about it the next day. We have to honor also, what she can do. What is her timing? Her time frame might be that she needs to be home by 7 o'clock. So we might need to adjust what times we're getting together, what times we're eating. Nutritionally trying to keep them in check with not letting them overindulge on things that they're not used to eating. Watching their blood sugar, because many have issues with that, and just making sure that they're not overdoing on the sweets. That's going to then take their blood sugars crazy. And then, as the caregiver, you're going to have to deal with that fallout. I think that as we, continue on and think about our plans, think about who's going to be there, making sure that we have something that everybody can enjoy. We don't want to leave out anybody's favorites, but maybe it's just going to look a little different as to what's going to be on the table and who's going to be around the table. And kind of back to, I had to laugh when Teresa said, again, Dana, back to your taking a time out. Just got a text from my brother-in-law my brother the other night saying, hey, we're doing dinner on Christmas Eve. Did you want to come? And as much as I love my brother and sister-in-law's cooking, I said, you know what? Christmas Eve, I've started to just like to be by myself, to, be home. That's my time to unwind. And before we're going to hit the next day in all its glory and craziness. So it is, I never thought about it in terms of taking a time out, but that's what I'm doing. And, that also allows me to not overeat that night and then all the next day. And I think we just need to, keep in mind, we want everybody to enjoy. We don't anybody to be left out of what they're used to. Again, my mom right now is, my sister is coming into town, her baby, and she's, going to be here for the holidays. And my mom is stressing about what is she going to have for her to eat. And we keep saying, Mom, you're not expected to have a meal on the table for her every night. How about let her cook for you? She lives in Nebraska. So we said, you know what? This is Sue's time to come and spend with you. Let her do the cooking. Let her wait on you. So I think we just need to, sometimes we have to remind. I know I put my sister in charge. You tell Sue that she needs to do this or that or something else for Mom when she's here, because sometimes they just don't think of that because they're not here all the time. So that's, kind of my approach to the holidays and about trying to, again, stay on your path, but enjoy what's out there, enjoy what your family is providing, and know your limits. And if that means taking the small plate versus a dinner plate, try it. You'll be surprised how well it works. And I think that will get us all through and be a little less stressful for this holiday season.
Thank you, Nora. I look forward to hearing back about your mom's verdict on the nut roll. I I'm sure it will be great, but
I do too, and don't you worry, she will let us know exactly
yeah,
what was right or what was wrong.
yeah, I definitely will need to hear an update on that because I love your story. So it's always good. Um, and I think the reminder about routine too, because that's true for a lot of people you're taking care of, they often thrive in routine. And even though the holiday is a fun time, it's also kind of stressful if it's outside of someone's routine. So I took a drink of water after you said that. I haven't had enough to drink today either. So those are all really good reminders. The small plate thing I've heard so many times, and I tend to not do it. And maybe this will be the year where I'm like, okay, small plate. So I'm not so miserable later. Thank you for all of those suggestions. I really appreciate that. And that you share your personal experience as a caregiver. I always feel like it's such a benefit when we get to hear from caregivers themselves, because I think it's an informal kind of a support when you get to hear those stories from other people who are, going through it too and can understand that. So I appreciate that too. Well, our next speaker is another one of my coworkers, Molly Lesline, which we joked about me pronouncing her name today. I've not done that yet, so now I know. And Molly is our volunteer coordinator. She has been our volunteer coordinator for 3 years here at Advanced Aging Meals on Wheels. And in the last year, Molly went through a 200-hour yoga teacher training and is certified through the Yoga Alliance. We've talked about yoga many times here in the office. I always enjoy hearing about that. And Molly has been a practitioner of yoga for 10 years, and it is a huge part of her life. So she is going to share a little bit of that with us today.
Thank you, Dana. Yeah, I'm Molly, and I was a registered yoga teacher as of December of last year. And in terms of caregivers, a big important thing to keep in the back of our heads is that when it comes to yoga, we're all caregivers because we really, really, really need to care for ourselves this time of year. I'm speaking like to you, but also to me. So I'm going to take you through like a 20-ish minute yoga sequence from our chairs that's accessible, feasible to do during the workday, feasible to do when you're putting yourself in one of your little timeouts. I wrote that down. I wrote down adult timeout. So it's just a couple of small little tools to decompress our spine, relax our shoulders, little things that we're not really thinking about, like towards the end of the day when your shoulders are all the way up here and you need to relax. This will be good for that. And I'll invite you to turn your screens off if you'd like during the practice to feel more comfortable, because movement is so personal. And if you want to do anything that feels good in your body that I'm not suggesting, I'm just a guide. So I welcome that. And we're going to get started. So I will encourage you all to close your eyes for the beginning of the practice. And we're going to take one big deep breath together. So inhale and exhale. Place one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly. Inhale and feel your chest rise. Exhale, belly lower. Sit with a nice tall spine. Try and reach your head up to the ceiling. And we're just going to bring our shoulders and try and touch our ears. So bring them all the way up and relax them down the back. And exaggerate too. Actually try and touch your earlobes. Bring your shoulders all the way up and all the way back. And we're going to repeat this about 5 or 6 times. So shoulders all the way up to the earlobes, Squeeze and release all the way down your back. Shoulders up to the ears, squeeze all the way back. Then we're going to do some neck circles. So take your chin and lower to your left shoulder. Inhale and lift. Exhale, left shoulder, chin. And then at your own pace, do a couple neck circles. This is a touchy area, so take it slow. And definitely don't extend further than comfortable. Do about 3 or 4 on your own, and then reverse your neck circles too. Okay. We're going to take our right hands, place it on the side top of our head, and just very gently pull to the right and rock your head side to side a little bit. And if you want to feel more, you can extend your left arm out, possibly touching your desk. But just gently let gravity basically do the work here. And we're going to hold this for a few breaths. So make sure we're inhaling and exhaling nice and slow. We're going to switch sides. Left hand on top of head, letting gravity pull down a little bit, rocking front to back. If you want to feel a little bit more, extend your right arm out. If this is good, stay here. Okay, now we're going to move into something a little bit more fun. This is called cat-cow. So place your 2 hands on the tops of your legs, kind of towards your knees. You might have to scoot out a little bit. And on our inhale, we're going to arch our back, pull our chest forward, and inhale for a cow pose. And then when we exhale, we're going to curl and tuck like a cat. And squeeze it all in. So inhale, arch your spine, maybe look up. Exhale, curl and tuck your spine like a cat. And you can use your knees as leverage too. So inhale, arch spine, chin up, cow. Exhale, tuck in, curl your spine, cat. Inhale, arch your spine, cow. Drop your belly. Let your belly try and relax in this position. And exhale, curl in, cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Couple more. Inhale, arch spine, look up. Exhale, curl spine. Inhale, arch spine. And exhale, come to neutral. So we're going to move into some side bends now. And we will start with the left. So reach your left arm up. And side bend to the right. You want to try and feel an openness of your ribs right here. Inhale. Exhale. Breathe into those side ribs. And switch sides. Right arm up and over. Open up your side ribs. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And back to neutral. So we're going to get into the legs a little bit, as much as we can in a chair. So we're going to take our right leg, cross it over onto our left knee, where your ankle and knee are just like kind of lining up, and your leg is like parallel to your desk. We're going to take your leg up and just rock side to side. You should feel a stretch in like your glute hip area on your right side. Make sure we're sitting up nice and tall. Inhaling and exhale. Rocking side to side. Kind of massaging out that glute a little bit on the right side. Okay. We're going to switch to the left. So bring the left foot up onto the right leg. Leg parallel with your desk. And each side will definitely feel a little bit different. My last leg could go down quite far. This one is kind of right up at the tip of my desk. So be patient with your body. Each side's different. So we're just going to inhale and exhale a few times in this pose. Rock back and forth. Massage out that glute a little bit. Okay. And now we're going to attempt to twist the spine in our chair. So we will twist to the left first. So we will take our right arm, bring it across to your hip, your armrest, the back of your chair, however your back is feeling today, and just twist to the left. And every inhale, you get taller. Every exhale, you twist further. So inhale, reach the crown up. Exhale, move the barrel of the chest to the left. One big inhale together. And exhale. Inhale back to neutral. And then we will switch to the right side. So take your left arm on your hip, on your armrest, and we will twist to the right. And same thing on this side. It's going to be different than the other side, so be patient. We will inhale, crown to the ceiling. Exhale, barrel of the chest rotates. So inhale, exhale, twist. Inhale, tall. Exhale, twist. Back to neutral. So we're going to end with something called 3-part breath, which is sort of a meditation. I will walk you through. We're going to put our hand on our heart and a hand on our belly. And I'm going to cue you where to breathe. So it's going to start in your belly, and then your ribs, and then your chest. And we will exhale from chest, ribs, and belly. And we'll go through that like 5 to 6 times. And that will close out our practice. So hand on the heart, hand on the belly. And we're going to inhale, belly, ribs, chest. Exhale, chest, ribs, belly. Inhale, belly, ribs, chest. Exhale, chest, ribs, belly. Inhale, belly, ribs, chest. Exhale, chest, ribs, belly. Big inhale, belly, ribs, chest. Exhale, chest, ribs, belly. A few more times. Inhale, belly, ribs, chest. Exhale, chest, ribs, belly. Inhale, belly, ribs, chest. Exhale, chest, ribs, belly. One more. Inhale, belly, ribs, chest. Exhale, chest, ribs, belly. Thank you guys so much for practicing with me and taking time out of your day to take care of yourself. It's so important during this time of year to really take a little bit of time for ourselves. So thank you.
Thank you for guiding us through that. Yeah, I see Teresa clapping. I'm like, yes, there's some clapping there.
Yes.
Thank you for guiding us through that, Molly. I know I feel more relaxed now, which is wonderful. A wonderful way for late afternoon. I
I
love
think we
yoga. I
need to
need
do that every day.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I was just thinking of like, how can we coerce Molly to do this at the end of the day every day?
Teresa, we should do that in our Monday group.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah, that's great. Well, thank you all again for being here and for speaking to us. I know I always learn such useful information from these, and I know those who watch also do. And just thank you for your time. It's appreciated. For next month, in January, it's on Tuesday, January 9th, we will be having the topic of mental health resources. We will have a speaker from the ADM board and Blick Center. So I wanted to have a topic of mental health, as I know sometimes January and winter blues, and it's always good to talk about mental health anyway, but this also, works with that too, about taking care of ourselves. So I wish you all, if I don't see you before, or those of you who I do, but a happy holiday season, and please do take time to take care of yourselves. It is such an important thing, and it can be simple with some guided meditation and just a few moments or an adult timeout, whatever you need.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Take care, everyone.
Thank you.
You're
Happy
welcome.
holidays.
Yes, same to you.